And thanks again, once again, ma'am.
So we start now?
We start in about, I think we should start now.
Right. Well, good evening. And on behalf of CMA, Calcutta Management Association, I extend a warm welcome to all of you to CMA Classroom, where we discuss live and functional issues. Today, we deal with immunity, nutrition, and self-care in the COVID-19 era. With the current pandemic, lockdown, and the uncertainties looming over our lives, taking care of our health and immunity have become of paramount importance. Given that comorbidity, and we've been hearing this term pretty often, is one of the reasons for COVID-19 fatality, people suffering from health conditions like diabetes or high cholesterol levels and other lifestyle disorders need to exercise caution and alter their lifestyle to bring down the severity of such disorders. With our movements being restricted, limited, healthy eating and healthy living are perhaps ways to keep our system and immunity going. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our speaker for this evening, Dr. Shikha Sharma. Welcome, Dr. Sharma. She is the founder and managing director of Dr. Shikha's NutriHealth. Dr. Sharma is a medical doctor by training from Maulana Azad Medical College, New Delhi. She founded Dr. Shikha's NutriHealth with a desire to work in the prevention of lifestyle-related disorders. The organization is a pioneer in integrating modern nutrition with Vedic nutrition and serves clients across the globe. She has built a telenutrition center and a personal health app, which is known as the Vedic Diet app, which helps in delivering personalized solutions. She obviously did think ahead. She has been a regular columnist and panelist in media and has interacted with IMA, ASSOCHAM, IIT, and IAS Academy in Missouri, among others. Dr. Shikha features in top 50 young achievers of the country and has been honored with Women Achiever Award by FICCI. Recently, she has been awarded Indiewood Vanitha Ratna Award. Congratulations, ma'am. She has been the health advisor to many celebrities, hoteliers, and politicians. Over to you, ma'am, to lead us, the lesser mortals, to better living.
Thank you, Mrs. Gooptu, and thank you, Calcutta Management Association. I must first, say that I've been very impressed with the way the whole event was organized. Extremely professional, and I must say in a very well managed way. So, firstly, congratulations. I think Calcutta Management Association really it speaks very well of how they manage the whole thing, and it's really nice. The pre-planning was really nice. So thank you so much, and I really appreciate that. And so today, what I wanted to talk to everybody was that how can we look after our health in this COVID crisis? Not only can we look after our health, but how can we utilize this kind of a dark cloud, but it has a silver lining, and which is that for the first time, I think for many of us, it is the first time that we can actually take a stock of our own lives, our own health, and reboot our lives. Actually, like somebody sent me a kind of a humorous message saying that God, please uninstall 2020 software because there is a virus in it. So in the same line, I would say that we can reboot our lives. We can relook at how we'll take care of our health and actually change a lot of things which earlier we didn't have time to do, because this is a time we can reflect and change ourselves. So first, let me start by how did I get into preventive healthcare and nutrition. So for many people know me as a nutrition person, as a nutritionist, but really there's a confession I must make. I have no qualification of a nutritionist. So I had done my medicine and from Maulana Azad Medical College, Delhi. And after that, I was posted in the Department of Cardiology. which is GB Pant Hospital. And it is one of the tertiary hospitals where cases across India come. And obviously, because it has a specialized ICU unit, and it had many beds compared to most hospitals. So it's a large ICU setup. So over there, as a very young doctor, I saw one death every day in front of my eyes. And it wasn't a very, I would say, it wasn't an easy experience, because in front of your eyes you're trying to save the patient. Of course your seniors are there, everybody's there, but you're part of that team. The whole night you try to save the patient, and by the time it's morning, you realize the patient is lost. The blood pressure suddenly falls, the ECG kind of the waves start coming. And the few patients who come slightly on time, because obviously GB Pant, if you see the location, it's surrounded by huge traffic. So it's a miracle how people even manage to enter GB Pant Hospital. So even the few patients who managed to come on time, when we used to kind of they used to survive by God's grace and they used to go home, then later on when they would come, I was surprised to see they had made no changes in their nutrition, no changes in their lifestyle. And it was like seeing them sitting on a ticking bomb. And as a doctor, I could make out that they will come back again. And second time, it's harder, because if the first time the damage is too much, the second time revival is harder. Excepting, of course, senior patients or people who are above 60, where there are collateral artery network and they are safer. Strangely, they are safer because there's a collateral artery network. But in younger patients, heart attacks can be deadly. So once I realized that, a thought came into my, I think I would say heart, because the mind always follows the heart and rationalizes. But the first thought came into my heart that is there a possibility of looking at treating a patient a little earlier in the course of disease, not when he's come in a crisis, but a little earlier. And in fact, I would say that I have a huge regard for allopathy. I'm a doctor of allopathic medicine. And allopathy, but has limitations. And I would call allopathy as a crisis management stream of medicine, or a pathy which manages crisis. It's a rescue medicine. So a typical example which I give to my patients is that suppose if you go to your club and over there you don't know swimming and you fall into a pool, the lifeguard will jump in and will save your life, and you'll thank the lifeguard. You will thank God that, thank God, there was a lifeguard around and I got saved. And then you'll go home and, you'll feel happy that you got saved. But imagine if you come the next day again and again walk around the swimming pool and slip and fall again. This time the lifeguard will tell you that, sir, I've saved you the second time also, but do you really, why don't you learn how to swim? I mean, so that if you have to keep falling into the swimming pool, I may not be around every time. And frankly, I felt like a lifeguard at that time, who's trying to save a patient who has not learned the art of living, the art of healthcare, and who will come back again perhaps in a situation where there'll be no doctor around. Maybe he's traveling, or maybe he's not around GB Pant Hospital. So with that in mind, I started going in the direction of preventive healthcare. Now, in my time when I passed out, preventive healthcare was primarily all about just malnutrition in the villages. There was nothing called urban preventive healthcare. And lifestyle disorders, it was understood you'll medicate the patient. And it was kind of not a prevalent practice to teach the patient that, look, you can save yourself. But what you need to do is you need to you need to learn the art of health, the art of living, and the art of eating right, art of managing stress. So that's how it all started. And that's how I got into preventive healthcare. And gradually, of course, the clinics expanded and the work expanded. And at one point, then I realized that I need to make healthcare accessible. Nobody should have to wait to come to a doctor. So that's the time I put video calling, and all our Ayurvedic doctors and nutritionists are available on video call. But for today, because healthcare is such a huge thing and this is my passion, I can go on for talking for many hours. But today I want to just stick to immunity. So firstly, what is immunity? Immunity is your body's internal army. And this internal army consists of little soldiers who run around in the blood and in the lymphatic system. And they identify any virus, any bacteria, any fungi, and attack it if they find inside the body. And they kind of uh, say, they don't kill it completely, but they kind of make it senseless for a while. And then they drag it to the liver, and in the liver, it's killed. And so the immune cells, the immunoglobulins, which kill the bacteria or the viruses, they then take it and a phagocyte, which kind of envelopes the bacteria and virus, covers it from all over. It's like a handcuff, but like a complete handcuff, and drags it to the liver and destroys it there. Now, like we all know that human beings aren't just a few hundred years old. They're thousands and thousands and centuries of years old. And human species has survived many bacteria, many viruses. In fact, if you touch the table, if you touch the chair you're sitting on, there are millions of bacteria there. There are millions of viruses in the atmosphere. What protects us? It's not just that one virus has suddenly come from an alien place. We have an inbuilt army. And this inbuilt army needs nourishment. So what I'm trying to say is that you have an inbuilt army which will kill any virus or bacteria. All you have to do is nourish your army, look after your army, and give it proper food so that this army becomes very strong and it can kill anything which comes inside, which is harmful for your body. Now, what are the things which nourish this army? So the first thing which nourishes this army is B vitamins. All the B vitamins, B1, B2, B3, B6, B12, all these vitamins nourish this army. So where will you find them? So most of these vitamins you find in fruits like beta carotene rich fruits, yellow colored fruits, orange colored fruits. So I will be of course sharing a recipe of which you have to have every day. So all these B vitamins are available there. B12 specifically is created and in animal products. So like for example, all animal products including dairy products would have B12. And that's where you get your B12. I have seen that so many women who would come to our clinic, so many had a deficiency of vitamin D and a deficiency of vitamin B12. Now, if you have a deficiency of vitamin B12, that means even your soldier inside your body is starving, because B12 is one of the essentials of immunity. It is essential for many things. It is essential for your nervous system. All your nerves, they need B12. In fact, I remember there was a couple which came, and the wife was used to doing a lot of these starvation diets and huge fasting, and the fasting also was very strange kind of fasting. And she would keep doing it recurrently. And then she had come because she had a weight issue, and her weight would go up, and then she would do crash dieting and lose weight and stuff like that. And she was doing it herself, and sometimes she was taking help. So the couple came and to a clinic, and then they started the program. And within the first week of the program, the husband called our doctor and said, "Look, my wife is unable to get out of the bed. There's something happened to her." And my doctors got nonplussed because they had, they were not sure what had happened to her. So finally, after much, discussion and everything, we discovered later, and this was about 15 years back I'm talking about, that she had extremely low levels of B12 and she had almost collapsed in her bed. Now, 15 years back, B12 was never talked about. 15 years back, vitamin D was never talked about. It was not even measured. Today, of course, we all know, and most doctors would check B12 and vitamin D. But nutritional deficiencies in the urban elite, in the wealthy, was never even imagined. It was just understood incorrectly, or it was, there was a notion which is incorrect that, oh, if you are wealthy, you are going to be well nourished. And there's a difference between body weight and nourishment. So body weight is not necessarily that you are well nourished, because you could be deficient in vitamin D, vitamin B12, vitamin C, all these different vitamins. So I must quote a research paper which has shown that people who get infected with the COVID virus, if they have enough vitamin D in their bodies, I mean, they are sufficient in their vitamin D, then they will come out of it very easily. They will come out of it very quickly. And in fact, many of them might be asymptomatic also. They will not have any symptoms. But the people who are severely deficient in vitamin D, these are the people who can even die because of the virus. So ultimately, what is it saying? It's saying the impact of whether the virus is bad for you, deadly for you, or it'll just pass off depends on your levels of nutrition or on your levels of nutrients, which includes vitamin D, which includes vitamin B12. Now, what surprises me is that today, most places they're talking about vaccines, they're talking about medication, they're talking about all those things. But people are forgetting that if you just boost your immunity, it'll just pass off. Even if somebody gets infected, it'll just pass off. And that is the most important thing in our hands. A vaccine is not in our hands. Medication is not in everybody's hand because it's a cocktail medication which is used. It's not just one. There'll be several medications which are used concomitantly, concurrently. And therefore, what is in our hand in daily life is our own immunity, our own immune system. So like I said, the B vitamins are very important. That means every day you have to have some fruit. Now, you could choose a fruit. Like, for example, one day you could have papaya in the morning, and maybe the next day you could have watermelon. The third day you could have banana. The fourth day you could have sweet lime, which is mousambis. Then you could have some other pineapple. So every day of the week, you must choose one fruit. In fact, you could choose two fruits also. Like, for example, papaya in the morning, apple a little later, or, things like that. So what is important is there are these different colored fruits which have different vitamins and minerals. And it's important to get all of them together in your diet. The second thing which is important is, and the Department of Ayush has also published this, there is this decoction, which is an immunity decoction. And the immunity decoction consists of black pepper, a little bit of ginger. Then it consists of jaggery, munakka, which is a bigger raisin. And maybe Nitin, if you could have the recipe posted there. Yeah. So this decoction, what you could do is you could cook this decoction. It has tulsi and ginger, cinnamon, which is dalchini, munakka, which is a bigger raisin. So you boil it, keep boiling it till the time it becomes like a kara, like a decoction. And then you take it off the flame and put a little bit of jaggery and have that as a warm tea, as a warm drink. And this is something which has been endorsed by Ayush, in fact, published by them. And very easy. I mean, all our kitchens, we have all these herbs. So we must try that. There's another immunity boosting juice which we must have. And this consists of amla, which is Indian gooseberry, 1, apple 1, tomatoes 2, and beetroot about 100 grams, and bottle gourd, which is lauki, or pumpkin also you can use, about 100 grams, and mint for flavor, for essence, and a little bit of black salt, and sea buckthorn powder. So sea buckthorn powder is actually, it's available everywhere. It is Himalayan berry or leh berry. It grows in the high altitudes of the Himalayas. Now, in this, all these ingredients actually are not only rich in vitamins, if you talk about amla, it has the highest amount of vitamin C. In fact, the unique thing about amla is that if you take orange juice and keep it in outside, the oxygen will oxidize the vitamin C. It will destroy the vitamin C after a few hours, or in fact, within half an hour, it will reduce the vitamin C. But the unique thing about amla is that the vitamin C does not come down much. I mean, it does not get destroyed much. So you know that we make amla as a candy also, and amla is consumed as a chawanprash also, and amla is sometimes cooked in dal also. So what this unique thing called amla survives heat, and that is something which is still to be researched. That how come the vitamin C survives heat in amla, whereas it's destroyed in other fruits. So amla is a very important ingredient. By the way, one of the oldest brand names, and since you're a management association, I'm sure brands would be something you must be talking about. The oldest brand name in the entire world is Chyawanprash. It is named after Rishi Chyawan, and the recipe is named after him. It is used patent-free as a generic, like generic medicines are used patent-free across. Anybody can use it. And the story of Rishi Chyawan is very interesting. So Rishi Chavan obviously was an acclaimed rishi of his time, and one of the kings wanted to marry his daughter, the princess, to the rishi. And the rishi obviously thought that the princess would be very unhappy with somebody like me. So he had to kind of decelerate his aging. He had to kind of use some anti-aging product so that he could marry the princess. And this is the recipe which came from the cosmic world. And even till today, thousands of years later, it is still useful. And if the ingredients are good quality, this is a wonderful recipe to be used in winters, the Chavan brush. Though in summers, it's not very highly recommended, but in winters, it can be consumed by everybody for immunity, for reducing the signs of aging because of the kind of composition it has. Now, some other things which are very prevalent and which are useful. In fact, in the morning today, I had a webinar with some people from US and some people from Australia. And what they found fascinating is our Indian Ayurvedic culture, which has these home remedies for protecting ourselves from viruses. And one of the things which we all use, but I'll still repeat it, is when you get up in the morning, you should gargle with hot water. And not hot, I mean warm water with salt, with rock salt. Now the reason is that when you gargle with rock salt, and if you put a little bit of turmeric in it also, turmeric is anti-inflammatory. Rock salt, saline solutions kill viruses and bacteria. And when you gargle with it, and it kind of, even if there's any virus which might have entered, you can kill it naturally in that environment, because it takes certain time to actually go inside your body and start multiplying. So the moment a virus comes and deposits itself in the nasal tracts, in the upper respiratory tract, it's not that it will immediately cause harm. No, there is a period. If there's a period where it lies dormant, because virus is just an information, a genetic code. It needs the body. It uses our bodies to multiply, our food to multiply, our blood supply to multiply. But in that window period, if you kill the virus, nothing can happen. Nothing will happen to you. So one of the ways to kill the virus is that you gargle with hot water. Another thing which is interesting, which has multiple benefits, is that you take about a tablespoon of coconut oil, put a little bit of rock salt in it, a little bit of turmeric, and you swish it around. Like you swish it around in your mouth for 15 minutes. You can't do it every day, but you can do it at least like say twice a week. And you will see that all your plaques also, like any bacterial plague you might have, any other infection you might have in your, or bleeding gums you might have, they will all get rectified, because this coconut oil, virgin coconut oil, and the salt and everything, once you switch it around, it takes away all the bacteria and the plaque. So it's like an anti-plaque treatment for everybody. Of course, you shouldn't gulp it down. You shouldn't take it inside, because then you have to throw it out. That is one. The second thing, of course, is that during the whole day, if you have hot water with a pinch of turmeric and drink it a couple of times, that will really take care of your upper respiratory tract. Because all said and done, there are a lot of people with comorbidities, and there are senior people in the house, the parents are there, and your extended family is there, and they have comorbidities. So for them, it's very important to keep drinking hot water with turmeric. And this is used actually in hospitals also. Even in hospitals, the doctors have started suggesting that to the patients and their family, that please do that. So in India, this is the unique thing, that doctors themselves believe in many of these home remedies. Another thing which is very important is antioxidants in your diet. So antioxidants, of course, sea buckthorn is a wonderful antioxidant. Amla is a wonderful antioxidant. Now, most of these antioxidants are best consumed when they are raw, which means that if you really look at our diet, 90% of our diet has become cooked food. I mean, raw food we hardly consume. Now, if we don't have raw foods, then we are not having enzymes, and even the antioxidant levels are coming down. So how do we eat raw food? Now, obviously, like Japanese, we don't eat raw fish, and we don't eat raw stuff like that. But the raw foods come from salads, and they come from fruits. Now, salads, obviously, you have cucumber, you have tomato, you have kakadi, you have so many other things which you can eat raw, and which conserve the enzymes which are very important for your body. And eating these kind of foods is also helpful for our body, because at the end of the day, the energy from this kind of food is 100% compared to when you completely cook it, the energy levels come down, the enzymes are completely destroyed, so that you never get. So it is important that during this time we push our levels of salads. Now, a lot of people in India don't want to have leafy vegetables because they're scared of the parasites. But the other raw vegetables, like you can, for example, loki juice, pumpkin juice, and your kira juice, and even salads like which are covered, which have a skin, those are fine and those should be consumed by us because they are important to boost our immunity. In fact, in the Vedic app, which Nitin will be showing at some point, we have put together a immunity diet plan, right from the morning till the night, what you should have, what is the kind of food you should eat. And this is a free diet plan. This is a free Vedic app. So in this, anybody can download it. So what it shows is basically immunity diet plans. We've also put together a diet plan for cholesterol, diet plan for diabetes, diet plan for polycystic ovary, intermittent fasting. Now, the reason why we put these diet plans is because there is a lot of confusion about what is the right diet plan to have. So what we thought is, why not have our doctors and our dietitians create these diet plans and give it free in the mobile app, and anybody can see it and use it and access it along with the recipes. Because many times I still remember there's a friend of mine and she used to say, Shikha, you just give me the diet plan, I write it, the written sheet I keep in my bag, in my purse, and I feel happy that I can go back to it whenever I need it. So remembering her, I realized that, why not put everything in an app, in a phone? Because nowadays, I think people don't use paper and pencil anymore. And the recipes also over there, which you can access. So that's how it all started. Now, when I talk also about a couple of things which people have asked me. So in over the course of many webinars which I've done, people have asked me, what about fruits and vegetables which you get from the market? Are they infected with coronavirus? I said, look, whether they're infected or not infected, in any case, when we get them home, we should wash them well. And we can use a mild washing soap, what we use for our utensils, to wash them, just the skin, and then wash it well so that there is no residue left. And similarly, the vegetables, we can dip them in a little bit of vinegar, apple cider vinegar. Just we can use, about 5 ml of vinegar in, say, a little, pan of water, and put the vegetables, wash it with that, and that should be fine. Because most viruses are very delicate. They're killed by acidity. They're killed by 70% alcohol. They're killed by soap and water. So viruses do not really survive if they get into an acidic environment. So that's the right way. But the right way is not that we stop eating fruits and vegetables, because that's very important for our own immune system. In fact, Louis Pasteur, who was a virologist, and he has created many, he's done a lot of work in the world of immunology, virology. He once mentioned that he kind of lamented that, I wish I had spoken more about immunity rather than just talking about vaccines and other stuff, because somehow people get the idea that any kind of healing can only come from outside. Any kind of healing can only come from an antibiotic or a vaccine. But that's not true. Our body is designed to heal itself. And to give you a small example, when people fracture themselves, what does the doctor do? The doctor does not heal. The doctor only resets the fracture. That is, he just aligns the bones to fit right and then packs it with a plaster. The healing is done by your own bodies. Our bodies, everybody's bodies have the healing power. And that joins the fracture. The cells join together. And not only joins the fracture, but you'll see that in fracture patients, there is also remodeling of the bone. So the finishing, like a carpenter, the osteoclast and the osteoblast, they're two kind of cells. So osteoblast will lay down bone. Like a mason, they keep laying down layers of bone. And osteoclast will keep cutting and chipping to make it in the right shape and the right direction, in the right look. So that's the beauty of our body. So intelligent. It also knows that you just don't join a bone like that. You also have to shape it. And so the two cells have different functions. The blast will put the bone, they will layer the bone, and the clasts will keep cutting the bone and chiseling to make it, more normal and the way it's supposed to be functionally correct. So what I'm trying to tell is that we have to believe that in our bodies there is this healing power, which we have to basically energize, which we have to bring forth. Now, a lot of people also ask me that, okay, if you're doing the immunity diet, and uh, what are the things which hurt immunity? So very frankly, there are just few things which really hurt immunity. First, I'll talk about the food. The things which hurt immunity are if you have a toxic liver, if your liver is overloaded. Now, what will make the liver overloaded? Obviously, fried food, too many antibiotics, painkillers, too much alcohol. I mean, of course, a little bit of alcohol is fine, but too much alcohol will also hit the liver very badly and damage the liver. Then, of course, you have, like I said, medicines and painkillers and antibiotics. You know, people pop a pill just like that. That's not good for the liver, because the liver has to take the damage of that residue of the end products of the of the painkiller. So it is important not to damage the liver. The second thing is, it is important to have all these vitamins and minerals in the diet. Like when I talked about vitamin A, vitamin B complex, vitamin C, folic acid is very important. Iron is very important. Iron, of course, you will get from green leafy vegetables. You will get from good jaggery. You will get from kamal kakri, which is a lotus stem. I don't know if in Bengal it's in Calcutta if it's eaten, but I come from Kashmir, and over there it's one of the very frequently consumed fruits. Not that I'm saying Kashmiri cuisine is healthy. It has its fair share of unhealthy foods. And but yes, lotus stem is a very frequently cooked food over there. And so like this, you need vitamin A, you need iron, you need folic acid. Now, many times what I've seen is, in most of the big metros, the mega cities like Calcutta, Delhi, Bombay, people have started eating a lot of refined food. Now, what amazes me is that when you have wheat or like a dalia, it has a lot of vitamins, like it has iron, it has B complex. When you refine it and into the next step, we charge more. I mean, the industry charges more, and the nutritional value becomes less. And then this cycle goes on till the point you're left with maida, where the nutritional value is the poorest and it is the most expensive. So that's what I find, that as uh, as conscious people, we should actually be having more of the dalia and the more of unrefined food, and not letting and not wasting the iron and the folic acid which is in the skin of the wheat, and throwing it away, and paying more for throwing it away. So it is important to eat natural, eat whole grain. Another thing which is changing in over the years is diversity. So if I asked, there's a patient of mine, and he told me, oh, I eat a lot of diverse food. There's a lot of variety in my diet. And you know what he was eating? He was eating bread, he was eating roti, pasta, noodles, puri, then he was having biscuits, cakes. And I told him, sir, have you noticed that in your diet, there's only one grain, and that is wheat. Everything you're eating is only one grain, and that is wheat. And he was surprised because, we see wheat in its various forms, and we think we are eating variety, but really it's just one thing. And similarly, I read a research paper where they had done a research study on students in one of the countries. And when they asked them what vegetable they eat, they talked about potato in potato chips and tomatoes in ketchups. And that reality is coming to India also, that the children, the only vegetables they can count on their finger, which they eat regularly in many cities, would be potato in a potato chips and tomatoes in a ketchup bottle. So that's something which also spoils immunity, because anything which is sitting on a shelf for 18, with a shelf life of 18 months, is already dead food. It doesn't have energy. And that is why, if majority of our diet is full of dead food, then it's quite natural that our body cannot have the immunity to fight viruses. Our body needs live food, food which is fresh, food which is freshly cooked, and food which has its own vital energy. And that is why I believe that irrespective of what virus is coming every year, if our immunity is strong, we can beat any virus. And I think I would also like to take some questions now, because I would love to hear people of what they are asking, what are the questions on their mind.
my question first.
Yes.
Um, see, during this COVID-19 era, where we have a bit of rationing going on in every house, for practical purposes, not much thought is being given to nutrition and immunity. It's basically we are trying to meet the needs of the family. So what is important is what you have built up over the years than a knee-jerk reaction now to suddenly fight COVID-19.
True.
So when do you think should one start being, getting into this habit of good eating and good living? I mean, a child is, the usual age would be about 6 or 7 when they start experimenting with food. Is that a good age to start?
Absolutely. I would say even younger, because if you see the children start eating grown-up food, I think by the time they are 5 year old, they start looking at, the tiffins they carry. And so they start eating a little bit of grown-up food. If that is the time the child is introduced to fruits and vegetable juices and salads as a routine, then the child will find that very normal. In fact, today, like I mentioned, I was doing a webinar, and there was a lady who said that her mother was very particular about the kind of tiffin she took to school. And her mother was not a nutritionist, was not from the healthcare, but in her era, and that was she was talking about many, many years back, at least 25 years back, the cool thing, the in thing was to have a white bread sandwich with peanut butter and some jelly and some jam. And all the kids carried this. And while her mother used to pack, more fresh things for her, and she used to feel embarrassed because the other kids were eating this cool thing, which was a white bread sandwich, and she had to eat more traditional food. So she said, thanks to my mom who forced me to eat all that, today I have a good immunity. So I think many times the children get into this peer pressure of having unhealthy food. If in the family, the mother or the family, the father, mother, anybody they create the culture of eating right, then I think kids anyway realize sooner or later. I know it's hard. I'm sure many of your parents must be saying, "Oh my God, how do I do this? It's so hard." It is hard, but I think it is something which can be done earlier the better. And if it starts at 5 years of age, even better.
Right. Thank you. I'll take the first question from Bharat Baid. Is the regular packaged oats which we get in market good for health?
So there are two kinds of oats which you get. The first is quick cooking oats, which the skin is removed. So quick cooking oats are okay, not so great. What we need is the fiber. So I think breakfast cereals, some of them which do not remove the fiber, they are good. Natural oats are excellent, they're far better. But quick cooking oats are not so great. Anything which says quick cooking, that means the skin is removed. And if the skin is removed, then the vitamins and minerals are removed.
It's like refined, so you lose
It's like
out on
refined.
the nutrients. Yeah. Okay. Shom Shankar Mitro, your question, as we are all sitting in the room in the COVID-19 era, what is the balanced diet to keep oneself healthy? So I guess the question is more rooted to the current situation.
Yes. So in a balanced diet, I would say that try to have more of dalia. Don't have too much of refined roti. And of course, Calcutta is more of a rice eating area. So if possible, I don't know if it's available, but brown rice would be better than white rice. You can make things out of brown rice. It needs a little bit of pre-soaking. Similarly, the porridge which we have, like khichdi, we can make a khichdi which is more brown rice khichdi. We can even make a mixed grain khichdi in which you put dal, you put chana dal, you put barley, you put oats, and you put dalia. So this mixed grain porridge is something you can put vegetables. You can put little bit of ghee ka tadka to give a flavor. Ghee in small quantities is actually excellent compared to many oils, and I'll touch upon oils as we go along. So what I'm trying to say, multigrain, like barley is there. Sattu, I don't know if in Bengal sattu is used.
Yeah.
Yeah, sattu is excellent, and the summer season sattu is very good. So if you have variety of grains, then you will find that your nourishment will improve. If you can have vegetable juices, the recipe which I mentioned, it is a very simple recipe, not complicated vegetables. So try that. That will also really improve the immunity.
Right, thank you. The next question is from Bibhu Nag. Actually, there are two questions. I will club it for you. Should we take multivitamin, multimineral capsules regularly? So that would be like a separate supplement. And what is their role on immunity? That was one. And he's asked about uh, in the US, people have, what is the role of daily exercise for building immunity?
Okay, so multivitamins is important. Like I said, that your little soldiers which run around in your body protecting you, their food is multivitamins and multiminerals. So it is very important. And I would say that the first and the foremost is a balanced nutrition. Like the vegetable juices, the salads, there is no replacement for balanced nutrition. These are supplements. These are over and above nutrition. So it is very important. Sorry. Actually, our house is in the flight path of airplanes. So, yeah. So, nutrients, so supplements are very essential, but they are supplements. They are over and above your nutrition. It's not that that your nutrition can find any replacement. So, you have your vegetable juices, have your salads, have multigrains, and then after say the age of 40, you can have some supplements also.
Right. Director CMA, that's Mr. Borua. Americans are famous for taking dead foods. So I think he's referring to processed food. Is that the reason why fatality is so high in the US due to this COVID-19?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised because that's the question I've been asking a lot of my friends who are into research. And there are multiple theories. One theory is that India is a country where where dengue and where malaria was common, and this virus has elements of malarial virus. So it has some elements. Since India has a natural herd immunity against malaria and dengue, so one theory is that. The second theory is what you mentioned, that since in US people eat so much of this processed food, so the natural immunity has come down. So that is another reason. And so there are multiple reasons, but yes, this is one of them.
Right. I'll take the next question from Mr. J.B. Roy Chaudhary. How good is to have several fruits or just a fruit breakfast in the morning?
I think it's wonderful because fruits are absorbed very well in the morning, and Ayurveda says that fruits are best absorbed in the morning, and that would be wonderful. The only thing you have to be careful is do not mix your melons. Like watermelon and muskmelon should not be mixed with other fruits, so they should be eaten by themselves. Uh, you so try not to mix a watermelon and a pineapple or watermelon and an apple. So when you're having watermelon, only have watermelon, and the other fruits you can mix like apple, oranges, bananas, cherries. So those things you can still mix, but not.
What happens if you mix the melons?
So melons basically, because it is a slightly different way they're absorbed, they kind of react with other fruits. So they are in a different family. It's a different family. Like for example, in India they say that do not mix honey and ghee together.
Mm-hmm.
It's very common. It's commonly told. And similarly, so these are these good combinations and bad combinations.
Okay. Now this is again a personal question, which I'm going to club with some questions which are here. Are these myths of intermittent fasting? That's one. And the second is, do smokers, do they have less chance of getting a COVID-19 infection?
Smokers have a higher chance, definitely, because they have a lesser lung capacity.
Yep.
And that is why they are high. They have a higher risk, and so have people who have asthma and people who are already on immunosuppressants. Like there are a lot of people who have autoimmune antibodies and they are on immunosuppressants. People who have some form of arthritis are also given immune suppressants. People who have allergies, skin allergies, are given steroids to suppress allergies. So those people are definitely at a higher risk because of these conditions. And sorry, your second question was?
On intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting, when I went through what it is, it's very similar to our Indian fast. So normally, we eat at sunset and do not eat very late. And a lot of people from the Jain faith and Jain traditions do not eat after sunset. And then again, the next morning, you're having after 12, 13 hours. So I think it's very close to our Indian system in any case. The only thing which I tell people who are intermittent fasting is that, look, there is two cycles. There's a feeding cycle when you're eating, and there's a fasting cycle. So in the feeding cycle, ensure that you're not eating wrong things. Because intermittent fasting doesn't mean that the feeding cycle you'll have all wrong food. Then it doesn't work. So you feed yourself right in the feeding cycle. And one thing which is very important is water. I think we underestimate three things: exercises, water, and sleep. So let me touch upon that.
Sure.
Water, minimum 2 to 3 liters, especially now that the summers have arrived. 2 to 3 liters are a must. And if you see your bodies, they're 2/3 water. So water is a medicine. It's the form. In fact, if you really see the kind of real medicine which is, it is sunshine, it is water, it is clean air, and it is breath. So all these are your real doctors. These are the real doctors, which is nature as a doctor. So it's very important. Now, in terms of exercise, I think that question was asked, what can we do? So the kind of exercises which you can do is Surya Namaskar. I mean, yoga is so amazing. I mean, I was just thinking that today, instead of doing yoga, we have yoga laptops. I mean, the laptop is doing more yoga than us. So Surya Namaskar is fantastic. We should do that because it is 12 postures and all of them cover all body parts, right? From the Bhujangasana to the, the leg stretches, everything. I mean, everything is covered in those 12 postures. And I think one doesn't have to be very quick with those postures. One can do it slowly at one's own pace. And that's wonderful. And otherwise, depending if you have young kids, they love dancing, so allow them to just dance, put on the music. And so it depends on, what is your nature, or, what you like. But, and I believe a lot of people learn classical dances. In Calcutta, I've heard that a lot of people learn classical music and dances. So I think it's good to pursue some of those things also.
Right. I'll just leave this with two observations. One is, apart from maintaining a good diet and healthy habits, I think a regular checkup is necessary. Your views on that? Because you should know what your targets are and if you're reaching that target.
Very beautifully said. In fact, it's a very good thing you have pointed out. So as a doctor, when I started, my career, I used to push people to do a preventive health checkup. So now it's very fashionable, but earlier it was not fashionable at all. And people said, I have no problem, I'll not go for a checkup. I had to literally force people that please do a checkup. You don't want to discover suddenly that your blood sugar reading is 300. And in one of my patients, this is exactly what happened. I forced the patient to go for a test and his reading was 350. He panicked so much, he didn't even do anything. He just went and admitted himself into the hospital. So his wife panicked and his family panicked. So what I'm saying is that I think preventive health checkup is something we should do after a certain age. After 40, I think some of these things are very important.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Sharma, for this wonderful talk on immunity, nutrition, and self-care. Your talk is indeed an inspiration to us to see things differently from an inner perspective, from the my perspective. The bottom line is that if we are healthy, if we are happy, we can be a support to others. And thank you, participants, for joining us. Wishing you all healthy times ahead. Stay safe, stay well, and stay connected to CMA Classroom. Thank you, Anirban.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. So if there are any questions, they can share with the Calcutta Management Association, and we'll be happy to have our doctors answer them, and we would be happy to take the questions later offline. So thank you so much, everybody, and have a great day ahead. Have a great evening ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Dotto, would you like to comment, please?
Yes, thank you very much. And I think it was a great session. I think we all got inspired by what you said, and most of it was actually quite simple. So it's actually doable. And therefore, I think thank you once again. And I think your offer of letting us ask you more questions is something that we'll take up. We'll ask our members and all that. If they have any questions, they'll send it to us, and we'll promptly send it across to you, and you can help us with some guide. Just one question.
Yes.
There was a question here which I thought I'd ask. How do you? You buy vegetables and all from the market. There's always this fear as to vegetables and fruit. How do you sort of quickly take care of sort of sanitize them a bit before you eat them or cook them or whatever?
She addressed that. She said that you have to use 5 milliliter of vinegar and just wash it in that. Am I right?
Yes, okay.
Yes,
I
yes.
possibly missed that. So
Yes.
that's fine.
Yes.
Okay, thank you
Yes.
very much. I think that was something that, and of course, you talked about exercise, and I guess walking also is a bit of a reasonably good exercise, especially
Yes.
walking inside the house if possible. Yeah. Anyway, thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for being with us, and thank you very much for giving us a well-needed, boost morale boosting.
Yes.
especially with things which are reasonably simple to do. Thank you very
Yes.
much, ma'am. Thank you.
It's a pleasure, and I really look forward to receiving all the questions which might have been missed out now. And take care, everybody. Thank you, and have a good night.
Yeah, and of course, I've already downloaded your app, so I'll go through it, and if there's anything, I'll get in touch with you. Thank you,
Yes.
ma'am. Bye.
Thank you. Stay well.
Good night.
Cheers.